And it's showtime. Welcome, everybody. We are live on the Positive Power Hour. Hi, Nicole. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday Power Hour.
Power Hour and the week of Thanksgiving. And that's what our theme will be on today quite a bit. First thing I want to mention for those of you that are looking on our live broadcast or on our recorded broadcasts and see that I look uglier than usual, it's because I am doing a skin cancer cream treatment that just makes your skin all blotchy and looking like your raw hamburger meat. So there's nothing wrong. Everything is great. And this is just the way I'm going to look for a while. In fact, I look so gross that I wear a mask around most of the time, and everybody says that's a great improvement over my normal look. So one of
I'll
my
take
favorite.
your blotchy skin over cancer any day. So
You
keep
betcha.
on
You
blotching
betcha.
on.
So Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. My favorite is which one, Nicole?
4th of July.
4th of July. And why is that?
Because, well, your independence for one,
Well, it's
but
true.
you love the music, the gathering, the camaraderie, the family getting together.
It's one
And
of the few holidays where there's no stress whatsoever, right? It's just everybody gets together that can get together and listen to great music and fireworks and the whole bit. And it's just a wonderful time. And in our community, for those of you that don't know, I live in Menifee and Nicole lives in Murrieta. And Murrieta has their city birthday on the Saturday before 4th of July. So that's their birthday, the city's birthday, and they have 4th of July. They just do another 4th of July show. So we get two 4th of Julys every year out here, which just is just awesome for me. I just love it, and I love being with the family. So that's always nice too. So yes, my second favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, and as you know, Nicole, through the years, especially in the last number of years, I like to call people that are in my life that mean a lot to me. I don't get to all of them every year. Sometimes I'm like everybody else and I get busy and I forget to call or I forget who I wanted to call. And just thank them for being in my life and just let people know how much I appreciate them. So before we go any further, let me say to everybody that's here live, like my wonderful Melinda right there. Hey guys, nice to see you. How much I appreciate everybody that's on our broadcast, how much I'm grateful for everybody being there. And there's Kimberlyn, she's joined us. Hi. And yes, it's a family event, and we do grow beyond family, believe it or not, and we're going to grow more and more as the new year comes on. But I just wanted to throw the gauntlet out there and say to everybody, "Oh, that's so sweet. We appreciate you, Papa. That's nice. I'm going to have
what
to
am I,
pay her for
chopped
that, I'm
liver?
sure." What? Yeah, she didn't say anything to you, did she? Huh?
What am I, chopped liver? I
uh,
love you all.
yes, and so here's the challenge for tonight, and I'm going to repeat it several times for those that come on late tonight. But I would love for you to participate in our broadcast, and the way we're going to do that tonight is throughout the night. And there she goes; she made amends for her first mistake, right?
I love you all.
Yes, absolutely. And I want everybody to, throughout the evening, post something or someone that you're grateful for. And the whole idea about that is that life has its ups and downs, and we can get all caught up in, the dramas and traumas that go on in the daily lives. And we can get consumed by those things. And I have a friend that is in the the marketing group that I belong to, who actually does courses on gratitude, right? And so the more we can pay attention to the things we have to be grateful for, you get to realize that if you just focused on that alone, you would have no time for negativity. You just wouldn't be able to fit it in with all the other things you're thinking about, right? So, the other thing that happens as we focus on gratefulness is that you get to experience from time to time, and quite often it happens to me at the most unexpected moments, and that is that feeling of grace. And I don't know, because most of us never talk about those kinds of things. But I just wonder, for the people that are on our live chat tonight and the people that'll be watching on the recording, how many of you have had a moment of grace where there was just that feeling that comes over you that it's brought me to tears from time to time, right? Of just, and that is grace. That's God's will showering that feeling onto you, because you certainly didn't create it on your own, right? And so I'd love to hear from our audience tonight, people who have had that moment of grace, what it felt like and how you would describe it. And then again, throughout our broadcast tonight, talk about the people and places and experiences you've gone through that make you grateful for the life that you have. Now, how does that sound like for a theme for a broadcast?
I like it.
You like it? Good. You can start.
Gratitude. I what?
You can start.
Oh, thanks.
Oh.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, you start first and I didn't realize that was coming. So I have to remember a moment.
I surprised you again, didn't I?
Yes.
All right. Well, so let me give you some thoughts. Of course, the easy and the quick way of getting through a gratitude list is to be grateful for your family, right? And whether you're a father or a mother or a daughter or a son or whatever those are, you can always go, oh, I'm grateful for my family. Bye, And yeah, you can do that. And I am absolutely grateful for the family that I have. You always hear people talk about you get two families, the one that you were born into and then the one that you create for yourself. And quite frankly, I couldn't imagine having a more loving, kind, generous family than the one that God gave me. I have a lot of friends, and, it's funny, really true friends, we only have maybe a few in our life, right? Everybody else is almost like acquaintances, right? But they're friends nonetheless. And so being just grateful for your family is kind of it's small in the overall scheme of things. You know what I mean? There's so many things. Like, I'm really grateful that I got to understand that I got to pick the God of my choosing. That I can either have a vengeful God that floods the whole world and drowns people, or I can have a kind, loving God who showers grace upon us when we least expect it, right? And I'm grateful that I got to have that kind of God that is what I like to think of as God. And Melinda says she doesn't know how long. This is the other Melinda, I think, isn't it? Yep. Not sure how long, though. Okay. Well, we're glad you're here, and we're grateful for whatever time you can give us tonight, right? Yes. Awesome. And here's one of our first ones tonight. I'm grateful for my husband. We've been through hell and back, and he's shown patience and supports us no matter what. How nice is that? And Melinda, obviously, I know the journey that you guys have been on, and it's been wonderful to watch you guys reach the point that you're at now. And I'm sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm absolutely certain that the hell and back that you two have gone through gives you the kind of relationship now you could have never had or understood or experienced had you not gone through the hell and back. You have a deeper appreciation for each other, a deeper respect for each other, a deeper love for each other, because you've been through those hard times. You've felt the relationship there. It's a deeper connection. That's exactly right. And really, it's that way through everything we go through in life, isn't it? I was just talking with a man today on the phone who, God love him, he's a wonderful, wonderful man, and I think the world of him. But if you asked him what time it was, he'd start by saying, well, in the ancient days, they used sundials, and then it would take forever to get to the point, right? but he was telling me about how he had a heart attack, and you know, and as he's telling the story, you get to see different areas where God's grace was really there for it, right? And if he hadn't had that, the next experience he had wouldn't have happened. So it shows how God's hand is in everything. And those times when we think that it's the worst ever and nothing is going to get better, we a little bit later get to see the grace involved in it. You get to see God's hand in it, and how your life actually turned out better for that horrible thing that we went through, right? It's like when we were talking about Nicole's mom earlier tonight, before the meeting, and we were sharing some stories about the past, right? And I remember when she and I divorced, she smartly divorced me because I was a train wreck in those days, right? And I felt like, you know, having lost my family, I felt like my heart was ripped out of my chest, and I had lost everything, and my life was absolutely horrible, right? And then after time goes on, and you get to see that she would have never been happy with me, and I never could have been happy with her. And it was the right thing to do. And I actually took her to lunch and thanked her for it one day, right? But, you know, that's the thing, is that if we can realize as we're going through a difficult time that there's going to be something good at the end of it, even though it hurts at the moment, even though it's scary, even though it's painful, if we can take that moment to remember that something beautiful is about to happen from it, then it makes going through it much easier. Would you agree with that, Nicole?
Yes, absolutely. And you know my story, of course.
Yes, yes.
You know, and the same, yeah, me too, you know.
Uh-huh.
My marriage was not shall we say the best. But I
Right.
was devoted, and
Yes.
um you know, I the kids thanked me after I got out, in fact. But but you know, I would never be in the place that I am today without every single thing
Yeah.
happening in my life, you know.
Yeah.
It was God that did that for me, and I know that without a shadow of a doubt. And
Yes.
although I didn't always feel like it was for the good, or there was going to be good that came out of it, you know, it sure did, you know. And as
Yes.
I work with women, you know, I talk about the little baby steps, you know, because some people really go through a hard time in life and
Sure.
end up on the bottom and lose everything. And so where do you go from there? You can go up, but it
Mhm.
feels like such a long journey, right? Like, oh my gosh, you know, how am I going to get here? Oh my gosh. You know, and I talk about the little baby steps along the way, you know, at dad's house, you know, running a room, you know, Casita,
Yes.
you know, sharing a house at Teresa's house, you know, um, and then, you know, getting an apartment, and then getting the condo, and then buying a home. You know, it was all just baby steps, and, you know, getting out from tax debt, and, you know, all those things. I didn't always know that there was going to be something better on the other side, but I would just walk through, right?
Yeah.
And just keep walking. So,
Well, and you know, as we've talked about on the show before, Nicole, it's about the fact that most of us grew up in drama.
mhm.
We're families of drama, right? And so many families are. And it isn't until you start to do some inner work that you get to recognize that no, life really isn't drama. It's what you watch on TV is drama, right?
Yeah.
That life is just life, and it's not the end of the world, and the world isn't going to come to an end, and you're going to be okay, and everything's going to work out. And the more you get to understand that, the easier the journey gets, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, the old row your boat thing where Captain Kirk, I don't remember his name at the moment, but he did a record, and he sang row your boat gently down the stream.
Yeah. It didn't fight uphill.
Yeah, exactly, right? And you
Up the
know,
current.
it's we learn this as we get older, and you know, the old saying that youth is wasted on the young, right? And you know, when you get older, and let me just say this, it's not necessarily about getting older. it's just about getting wiser, right? I
Right.
know a lot of old people that haven't got it yet, right?
Well, what's wonderful is that, I've spent a lot of time with my family, my kids and
Yep.
my family in general, and
Yep.
there's no drama. Like
Right.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
There's no drama, and I'm grateful that my kids are that way too.
Well, I often say that I'm grateful that all of you kids turned out so well in spite of me, and but it's true. I mean, if we all followed the footsteps of our parents, it would be a train wreck, right? And so I often say that kids grow up well in spite of us parents, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're young and you have children, there's so much pressure, making a living and taking care of children, and all of the fear that you have about, am I going to be a good enough mother, a good enough father, a good enough wife, a good enough husband, good enough, and then you got work on top of that, right? And it's like, oh my God, it's no wonder that everybody's so stressed out when you're raising families. I mean, my goodness. And then you get older and it's like, okay, it's all okay now, right? And if we understood that in the very beginning, it would have been a much easier journey, but that's not how we learn, right? But it's also that interesting argument about whether it's better to have children young or late in life, right? And I've seen both sides of the coin. I've known friends that have had children later in life, and they spent their early 20s traveling and doing this and that and buying a home and getting themselves settled before they had children. And that worked out well for some and not so well for others. Just the same as having them too early in life works out well for some and not so good for others, right? So it's all whatever it is, right? All right, so let's get on to some of our banners here, because I see people are actually following our instructions of putting down things they're grateful for. And
Way to go.
Melinda let us know that she has COVID and is not feeling so hot. Well, Melinda, I know you're going to get through it all right. And thank God we get through it much easier these days than we did a year or two ago. And our hearts and prayers are, of course, out to you. We love you, and get well quick. All right. And hopefully you'll be on for the rest of the night, make you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wondered where you were this week. I didn't see you where I usually see you. All right. So that's our Melinda. And then from Kimberlyn, we have that literally the past couple of weeks have had much needed family time. As soon as they left, I had just a wave of peacefulness flow through, knowing that I've created a peaceful space that I can wind down and just feel safe is what I'm most thankful for.
You sure do. You
Melinda,
have a beautiful
Kimmy is
home.
another one who made a decision that she was going to create a particular kind of life for herself, and she did it. She did it. I'm very proud of you, Kimmy. Very proud of you. And you do have a beautiful family. I haven't seen your home yet. Hopefully this next year I'll get out there and see you guys. I've made some decisions of my own that I'm going to do a little traveling this next year. We'll see how that all goes. But, you want to see God laugh, tell him your plans. But we'll see how that goes. And then Melinda says, yes, God's grace saved my daughter's life. Absolutely.
And she's beautiful.
Yes, she is absolutely beautiful. And so are you too, right, Melinda? You are absolutely beautiful. And your story with your family is one for a book. What you guys went through to get to where you are, right? It's just beautiful. And yes, it's by the grace of God, that I am so grateful and safe and sober and have the blessings of my family and friends in my life, and able to be blessed with a new granddaughter.
And she's
How
beautiful
about that?
too.
Yay!
Yes.
Very nice.
She's
Very
beautiful.
nice. Huh?
She's beautiful.
I'll have to see her. All right. And then we have another one here. Kimberlyn, again, we'll have you anytime, Papa. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Gosh, It's, it's really nice that my family is, willing to put up with me a little bit. I think that's great. Uh, so one of the things I'm very grateful for is the fact that even though this face looks even worse than normal, it's because of cancer, skin cancer. And they have a cream that you put on your face. It's a regimen that you go through, and it makes your skin all blotchy, and it scruffs off skin cells and all that kind of stuff. Not a real fun thing to go through, but my doctor tells me that I'm one of the few patients he's had throughout his career that actually sticks to the program and completes it. And I've done 3 rounds of it so far, right? But I thought, so I told him, I said, well, why in the world would I want to go through that kind of a treatment and stop? I mean, that's the worst part is this, right? Once it clears up, you got the skin of a baby again, right? So it's really like a chemical peel that ladies pay a lot of money for, right? It's like that, but a little more intense, of course, right? But I'm grateful that I found out about the melanoma that I had, that was caught totally by accident because I went in to find out about a cough that I had at the time, and the nurse practitioner who was seeing me said, let's take your shirt off and see if there's anything we need to be aware of. And she saw the big mold and she goes, oh, we got to get you in to see a dermatologist right away. And if it hadn't been for her checking on something that I wasn't going in there for, that melanoma could have killed me, because that's melanoma is, I mean, is it melanoma? Is that the right word? Yeah. Melanoma is one of those silent killers. There isn't any symptoms that you experience. It just grows in your body like a tentacle. It just runs through the whole thing. And the fact that they caught it early, my doctor in the last visit said, I could just release you because we usually do that after 5 years, but I'd just like to see you every year for a while yet, just to make sure. I don't want to do it too quick. And I'm grateful for that, right? I'm grateful for all the family and friends that I have. I'm grateful that at my age, I'm still able to work and be productive, because it's kind of one of my things in life is I've always been a worker. I love to work. I love to do things. I love to make things better. And in the job I have currently, I get to change the way people feel every single day, and a lot of people. And that's a nice feeling. It's soul food, right? So, and I'm grateful that I have a wife that, puts up with me after 30 years. She's still, I mean, that woman has a high tolerance for pain. And a loving family, and I couldn't be more happy about that. So I'm looking for some more comments from our gallery here. What else is somebody grateful for? Have you thought of one, Nicole?
Oh gosh, I have many. My husband, my kids, my grandkids. Oh gosh, so many. My doggies. My father, of course.
Your low energy dogs?
Yeah, my low energy dogs. They're great though, but yeah, I mean, like, just life, last year I went through sepsis, and it nearly took over. And so, every day's a bonus day,
Yes.
so I get to treat it as such, on most days.
Isn't that experience we're talking about, where you're going through something and it seems like it's the end of the life and it's the worst thing that could possibly happen, and yet now you look back on it and you're grateful for it? Isn't that amazing?
Well, I'm not so grateful for the sepsis, but it was a long journey through it. But I made it through, and like I said, every day is a bonus now, so get to enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a new Facebook user. I don't know who this is. Does anyone know?
It must be your sister-in-law.
Huh?
It must be your sister-in-law, Patty, probably.
I don't know.
My sweet brother-in-law.
Oh, I'll bet you're right. I'll bet that's Patty. Well, she says sweet brother-in-law, so I figured it must have been somebody else.
He's a little
He
slow.
did not know he was going through this treatment. Oh, all right. But I'm grateful he is. Yes. Well, if that's Patty, thank you, Patty. And you
Lord
know,
P.
we'll have to talk about that sweet
Oh,
brother-in-law
it's
thing,
Nancy.
right? Huh? Oh, it's Nancy.
Nancy.
Which Nancy?
Probably Keeter.
Huh?
Is it Keeter?
Oh, Nancy Kiter?
Kiter. Probably.
Wow. Nancy. Nancy. Wait a minute. What am I? I'm losing it. I'm absolutely losing it. I don't know who that is. Nancy. Nancy, says Melly. We'll find out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's not your sister-in-law, Nancy.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, Nancy, let us know who you are. Which Nancy?
Kate's sister.
It is Kate's sister.
That's what I've been
Yay,
saying.
Nancy.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, hey.
And the
Well, you
treatment's
know,
got
this
him a little.
sweet brother-in-law thing that threw me off, right?
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah. Duh, she says.
I know. I even knew who it was, Pop.
Yeah, right. Oh well, you know, I put in a really long, hard day today, and it's kind of kicked my butt. So, and Nancy is absolutely one of the people in my life I'm extremely grateful for. Nancy and her husband Ken are two of the most generous, caring, loving people I've ever known. They have been so kind to Kate and I, and involve us in so many of the family affairs up in Seattle and in Hawaii, and have just been always there for us whenever we've needed them, and you know, supporting Kate with everything she's gone through, and helped me when I was going through the cancer work and everything. And they are just the example to me of how one should live their life. You know, they are the first. They love to be involved in charities. They love to help people that are less fortunate than them. They recognize the importance of giving back, right? And they do that without any desire for notoriety or anything like that. So I thought I shut my phone off. I guess I did not. So, Nancy, I'm so honored that you were here tonight. Wow, I am so
Glad to have you
impressed.
here.
Yes, thank you. And it takes a great one to know one always. Oh, how nice is that? You are a gem, Dan. Oh, gosh, I wonder how much I'm going to have to pay her for putting that comment in
Yeah,
here.
you really do have a lot of people fooled, Dad.
I know, right? It's amazing.
Just kidding.
Oh, I say that all the time.
I know.
But yeah, well, thank you for that, Nancy. I really appreciate you, and I hope you know that, right? I love doing this power hour, and yes, the majority of people on here currently are family members. A crap load. Oh, our family members at this point. But again, we don't know who's going to watch the recording at another time, and how something that we might say here might make a difference for them. And that's really why we do this. Life is short, and life is full of drama and trauma, as we've been talking about, right? And the purpose of this power hour is to really help people to get refocused, to get recentered on what's really important, right? The jobs come and go in life. The people in our lives come and go. That's the journey of life. And I was happy Thanksgiving, and this is probably Nancy. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and may love bless your family and ours this week and always. Absolutely. We normally go meet with Kathy and the Kiter side of the family, Kate's sister-in-law's family. We usually
Called her
meet.
Kathy. Is that Kathy?
Huh?
Is that Kathy, the sister-in-law?
Nancy's sister-in-law.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We usually meet there for Thanksgiving. And this year we weren't able to do that because of an illness in the family. And so we're all having our own separate Thanksgivings for the first time in God, what, 30 years probably. So it's a new experience, right? And we can all choose to go, we're not together. And yeah, I wish we were, but it gives us an opportunity to have a different experience. So that's what we're all going to do. And I know that Nancy is going to have a big party up at her home because that's the way Nancy does holidays. And she has a big family in Seattle, and they'll all be getting together and having a wonderful evening, I'm sure. And this will be a much different experience for you, Nancy, as well, right? So that's really great. And Kate's in the other room, and I'll make sure to let her know that you were on the call tonight. She'll be absolutely thrilled to know that you joined us. Yeah. So anybody else got one? Something,
Well,
give us something you're grateful for.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Well, one thing that I came to mind when you were talking about going through some, the positive power hour and, changing the mindset. And,
Yes.
it really reminded me that, you were talking about, going through things, and as I look back, I don't know if I said this already, but, as I was going through things, I didn't see the blessings, but looking back on them,
Right.
boy, you can really see, where you landed and where, oh, wow, if I didn't go that way, I couldn't have been that way, and
Right.
you never know what's ahead of you that you just didn't know what you missed out on, or, you know what I mean? That
Yes.
could have been way worse than what you
Yeah.
had experienced, but you're hooing and hawing about the traffic, right? But you missed out on that accident that maybe, was causing the traffic,
And what those people were going through, and we're just sitting there
Yeah.
whining about the fact that we're stuck in traffic, right?
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
really had a mindset change on the traffic, like, well, now that I'm not in it half the time. Road rage goes away really quick when you're not in it.
Yes. Yes.
But, also, there were times that motorcycles would fly past me, and then I'd see them when I went up further in traffic, and it wasn't always a great thing, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Gosh, dang."
Kate and I had that very experience last week. And as the motorcycle went by me, we started talking about how, in our opinion, she and I feel the same way about it, it's rather dangerous for people to drive between rows of cars like that. And they passed a law saying it's okay because it reduces traffic, I guess. But at what cost? And sure enough, a few minutes later, we're stuck in traffic, and we get up to it, and that motorcycle was laying on the ground, and the guy's laying on the ground with a pillow under his head, and just laying there. And you think, yeah, that's the problem. It's a physics problem, right? The mass weight of a motorcycle versus a car is not a fair competition, and the motorcycle will always lose that battle. And that's another thing I'm grateful for. I had a motorcycle accident many years ago now, right? 150 years ago or so, something like that. And, and I could have died in that accident. And I've got a knee that they told me I'd have to have my knee replaced within a few years after the accident. And I still have the same knee. So, I'm grateful for that, right? And every single day, it's one of the great things about working in retail is that every single day I get to see somebody who reminds me to be grateful for the health I have, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I get to see somebody every single day that, there may be the same person, it may be a different person who fits those four categories, right? And it makes me grateful. And it makes me smile, and it reminds me what my real work here on earth is. It isn't, the job's the job, and that's just to take care of bills. But my real work is to brighten the day of somebody every day, right? And as many people as I can. And we end our show every day, every Monday, with the saying that if you see somebody without a smile, give them
Give
what.
them yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Because a
Mm.
smile does so much. It's such a powerful tool that God gives us. And it's amazing the things that I have found happen just from the power of a smile. So I'm grateful that I love to smile. I'm grateful that I get to make people smile, that I know how to make people smile, that God gave me those gifts. That, I joke all, me, Nicole, you know me, you've known me for a few years now,
Just a
right?
few.
Yeah. And I always talk about how I don't, God gave me nothing, right? I can't dance, I can't sing, look at the face, right? I mean, obviously it wasn't his finest work, let's face it, right?
Oh,
And but I joke about all those things, right? That I figured I must have pissed him off because he gave me nothing, right? And it's just and I love self-effacing humor. I just love it. But the reality is that the greatest gift he gave me was the ability to read people. Yes, you, Nicole, absolutely right. Yes. You're falling a wayside. There you are. Yes, my greatest gift is Nicole. That's right. You got your father's humor.
it's me, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And 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 so those are my greatest gifts, is that God gave me that empathy and compassion and caring that enriches my life and hopefully enriches others as well, right? So here we got another new comment. Melly,
All
I
right.
have a atta girl moment. All right. I have a few PTSD triggers, and one of them is cherry Pepsi. I want to hear more about that story. No? Oh, okay. Well, I was able to drink it and power through the emotions that come with it. I beat my own fear. Atta girl.
I'm on nope.
You've probably heard that saying before, that what fear means, right? Face everything and run, or fear everything and run, or face everything and recover. And so once we do that, we realize that there is no boogeyman, and that the fear is something that we determined it to be. And if we can determine to have fear, we can also determine to not have fear, right? And yes, the way you overcame it was by drinking it. Because if you stayed in that fear and said, "Oh no, I'm never going to have it because of what happened that time 30 years ago," or whatever the deal was, then that event holds you hostage and you can't be free, right? So, way to go, Melinda. That's exactly the whole point here, is saying, we don't have anything to be afraid of. The only thing there really is to be afraid of, and then you realize that it was the fear of death, right? Everybody has this fear of dying. And the reality is every single one of us are going to do it. Me sooner than others, maybe, right? I mean, a lot more years behind me than ahead of me, right? But
Oh, you're so
that's the thing about fear, right? Is that it holds you hostage. It keeps you in a self-imposed prison. The Eagles had a song about, so oftentimes it happens that we live our lives in chains and we don't even realize we have the key. Think about that. What areas of your life are you holding back in? What is it you always wanted to say to somebody, but just never had the courage to do it? What would you do if you had all the money in the world and you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do with the day? Right? I work 40 hours a week and I get 2 days off, and I spent my whole day today working in my work. And I had a ball, and I worked really hard. I was making parts, right? Making whispers, painting them, hand painting them. and it's a lot of work. But I had a ball the whole day because it's where my passion is, right? When I see people buy Whispers and put them on and get the experience like what Jose mentioned last week, right? How suddenly he finds himself not the mind not racing so much, and all of the doubts and fears that was keeping him from getting where he wanted to go in his life. He could focus better and easier. And that's the whole idea, right? Is when our mind takes over and is racing, which we've all had those experiences, right? You start off the day and you say, you know what, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I'm going to be happy all day long, and I'm not going to let anything bother me today. And then 2 hours later, you find yourself wrapped up in a drama or a trauma or some silly ass thing that, doesn't mean a darn thing, that took away all of that momentum that you started the day with. Kind of like what our power hour is about, right? Getting us back on track. And that happens to most of us multiple times throughout a day. But when you start wearing the Whispers and you start having your energy cleared away, you find that you don't do those things near as much. And it makes your life so much easier to get where you really want to go. So what is it you wanted to do that you didn't do because you were afraid? For Melinda, it was cherry Pepsi. And I wonder what that story is about. I'd love to hear about it at some point. But that is a big Atta Girl moment, and I'm glad that you are giving yourself Atta Girls. That's something we could also mention tonight, is that life is repetition, and so poor Nicole and all of my family have all heard my jokes all for their whole lives, just like, they'll even set me up for one so that they can hear it, right? When they call me, hey, how you doing, Dad? Or what are you up to? And I'll say 5'10", right? And then she'll laugh. See, just like that. She knows that one. But it's a repetition, right? And life is repetition. Next is clowns. I love it. Do you have fear of clowns?
She does.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
And balloons.
Wow. Well, we will work through them together. How's that? We'll all go through them. So we're gonna put you in a room and fill it with clowns and balloons.
That's horrible. Don't do that to me. I'm not telling you my fears.
Next is clowns. Yes, I'm extremely terrified. Wow. Okay. Well, that's another area that keeps you hostage, Melinda. Think about that, right? You're allowing clowns and balloons to have power over you. Whoa.
I think it's gotten better over the years, but yeah, she's always had that fear.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about Melinda just the other day. There's a young lady in the store I work in who reminds me so much of Melinda when she first came to stay with us for a while, right? She refuses to smile. She's mad about everything. And it just reminded me of how Melinda was when she first came to stay with us for a while. And I'm perfectly fine with it. Oh.
Yeah,
Cheryl
she's doing better with
doing better
fireworks.
with fireworks. Yeah, that was a wonderful experience too, wasn't it, Cheryl? Where we had that guy who had a young boy who was terrified of fireworks, and most of us in the crowd were looking at them like, why don't they just let him go be someplace else and so he doesn't cry and he's not traumatized? But what the father was doing was patiently allowing the child to feel what he was feeling, and realized at the end of it that there was nothing for him to be afraid of. And had he taken the child away from the fireworks, do you remember this experience, Nick? No, you were there.
Maybe in body.
I'll always remember it because I was one of those thinking, gosh, what's wrong with this guy? Why doesn't he take the kid away so he's not traumatized? Well, he was trying to work him through the trauma, right? And he was absolutely right. And I was wrong, right? And at the end of it, the kid towards the end of the fireworks show got to relax and actually enjoy the show. Whereas if he had just, taken him and removed him from the experience, he'd have had that locked in and he'd continue to feel that way. Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll always remember that because it was one of those stories where I thought, boy, this guy, what's he doing, right? What's the matter with him?
Yeah, I remember it well too.
She's doing better with fireworks. Yeah, she is. Yeah, absolutely. She's doing better in a lot of different ways. By the way, Cheryl, you are also one of those people to whom we are all very grateful for, and I hope you know just how much you mean to all of us because we all love you very much. You're an awesome woman, and I just always say that to you every time I see you. I know, but it's only because I mean it, and it's true. So thank you. And what else have we got here? Anybody else? We need some more comments, some more experiences. How about something else you're grateful for? I'm grateful that we've gone through another election and we didn't have the kind of trauma we had over the past election, that everything went through smoothly. And people, I think, are starting to, it's the interesting thing about love and hate, right? And God knows there's a lot of hate going on out there, and there's a lot of, divisiveness out there. And what I have come to know to be true is that love is a much more powerful energy, and love always overcomes hate. So I think that's what's starting to happen in our country, is that those that had all that hate they needed to get rid of, that energy needs to be released somehow, right? So if by screaming and yelling they release that energy, that's great. And I'm feeling like that's what's starting to happen in the country, is that I think more people really want our government to work together to make things better for everybody, not just one group or another group, but for everybody. This is the richest country in the world, and there shouldn't be any lack of anything. And if we would all just work together for the common good, how much better a life this would be. And Cheryl commented off of my comment, I love you guys too. You guys are an awesome extended family. One of the great experiences I've had in the last few years was going to the baby shower for Melinda, and all of Cheryl's family that came to that. And Cheryl has a huge family, and every single one of them, in my experience, are kind, loving people. And they have always made me feel so welcome and so I just appreciate every single one of them, because they're just really genuinely nice people. And it shows me that we can all be like that if we just try a little harder, right? And there's an old saying that no matter what you look for, you'll find it. So if you want to find injustice, you'll find it. If you want to find hatred, you'll find it. If you want to find cruelty, you'll find it. And if you want to find kind, loving gentleness, you'll find it. So pay attention to what you want to find. If it's just money, okay, well, you can go out and get more money. And I've often said, I guess I needed to put money at a higher priority, then maybe I'd have more of it, right? But and that's probably true. But I also know that the areas in which I put most of my priorities to was what was really important for me. And that was giving back to others. And, that give a smile, right? Especially when you see somebody who's hurting. And it goes back to my saying that I use all the time on our show here, and I use it in my daily life, is about the Walt Whitman saying that the huddled masses live in quiet desperation. Probably a lot of people wish I'd be a little more quiet. But I love to laugh. I love to make people smile. I love to make their day lighter. And maybe for just a moment, take away some of that desperation that they feel, right? And what I know is that being happy is a choice. Just like being miserable is a choice. Being angry is a choice. So what do you want? Think about it. Pay attention. Think about what you really want in your life. And chances are you probably already have a lot of it. And you just haven't been paying attention, right? Everybody that's been on this call tonight, from Melinda, our friend, to Melinda, our family member, to Cheryl and Nancy, and just everybody on this broadcast today has talked about what a wonderful extended family this is. And whether you're on our call tonight or whether you're watching on the broadcast, you are a member of this family if you want to be. And we have plenty of love to give.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And, I love that saying that you can't outgive God. But it sure is fun trying. All right?
Yes.
So for all of you on our broadcast and all of you watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you might be watching it, I hope that you heard something tonight that reminds you to be grateful for whatever it is you have in your life tonight. And if there's something that you don't have yet, know that it's coming for you. And it'll come much easier and much faster if you are putting out positive vibrations, right? They attract. Negativity repels.
What you focus on increases.
Exactly right, right? So
Yep.
if you want to be miserable, okay. There's an old saying that if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Right? So, let's have a happy, thankful Thanksgiving. I'm going to spend time the next couple of days calling people and just thanking them for being in my life, and how honored I am that they have chosen to be a friend of mine, right? I am a very blessed man, and I know you feel the same way, Nicole. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
And I know everybody that's on our call tonight feels exactly that same way. But I also know that me just feeling it is good, but it's even better if I share it, right?
Absolutely.
And so, hey, maybe one of your fears is calling people and telling them how you really feel about them. I don't know why that is, but I know it's true. Right? I remember when I was that way, that I was so, I'm sure that there are real positive attributes to being an introvert. But from my experience, a lot of my introvertedness that I had in my younger years is because, I was really homely as a young boy and had absolutely no confidence whatsoever. And I would be afraid to talk to people because I feared that I would offend them. Right? And I don't know what the hell that was. I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense, right? But that's the way I felt. And one of the things I had to get over was I thought that the feelings of inadequacy I had, everybody had. Or actually, that I was the only one that felt that way. Nobody else felt that way, right? And the truth of the matter is, most people feel that way. They're too afraid to just tell somebody, you know what, I really appreciate you being here today, right? And who was it? Melinda that shared last week that she had a moment where she just commented on a woman's hair, and you could just see it brighten up her entire being, right? Just by telling somebody that they had nice hair. so little amount of effort necessary to really make somebody's day, right? And the joy that's what I call soul food, right? Is when you do something kind to somebody else, not expecting anything in return. It's awesome. And Melinda here says, yes, absolutely. I love you guys and are very grateful to be a part of the family. I'm glad you stuck it out for the whole meeting, the
Yay.
whole power hour, Melinda. I miss you and I hope you get well very, very quick. And I hope that you're having Thanksgiving time with family this time. If you don't have some place to go, let us know. We'll see what we can do, right?
She's staying home.
Yay.
She's
Because she
not
wants
feeling
to.
well.
Yeah, well, okay. All right. Well, we love you all very
Hopefully
much.
she'll be
Thank
feeling
you for
better.
joining us for the Power Hour tonight. Have a wonderful and safe, grateful Thanksgiving. And if you can reach out to somebody, yep, in my room, she said. Even if it's just a phone call, reach out to somebody that you know and just say, hey, I just wanted to call you and tell you I love you and I'm really glad you're in my life. I plan on doing that a lot the next few days. I hope you'll do the same. And next week we can share stories about how those conversations went, right? All
We
right.
love you all.
Love to you all very much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We'll see you next Monday. Take
Yes.
care, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.